Hare Krishna. So in last week we had discussion about 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So in the last verse, Krishna was describing how is it that one transcends the mode through devotional service. But sometimes as a devotees we find that to transcend this material world there is a great struggle. One needs detachment from the material world. So generally the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita bewilders us. My God, that makes us think which mode I am. Am I in goodness? Am I in passion? Am I in ignorance? And all that contemplation starts. So the main purpose of this chapter is only to do this, to make us think, to understand that I am conditioned and I am bound by the modes. And when one understands that I am conditioned by these modes and I am bound by these modes and I want to become free, then he starts working on this. And to start working on this, one needs detachment. So 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it has mainly total three themes. Around I can say four themes. So what is the first theme here? So the first five shlokas of this 15th chapter, they are going to speak about how one should become detached from material world. How to develop this detachment from the material world. We find these attachments make us slave. If you see from the Shastras, various examples, how attachment has made people slave. Like we know that very famous video of a monkey trying to eat some groundnuts and some nuts. And if hunter wants to catch a monkey, hunter puts nuts inside a bottle with a small opening. So he can easily put his hand, but he can easily remove his hand also. But once he gets the nut, it is very difficult for him to remove the hand because he holds his fist tightly, and hunter comes and catches the monkey. So similarly, and he becomes a slave. Similarly, we find attachments they make us slave in this world. If we consider an example of Duryodhana was attached to greed, position, and Duryodhana, despite of so many repeated warnings and good counseling by different members, he was trapped. He got destroyed because of this attachment. Ravana. Ravana got destroyed because of attachment for Sita in form of lust. Despite of good advice, despite of Supreme Lord personally warning him, nothing worked out. So this attachment causes problem. So it is like a stone. Attachments are like a stone. Suppose a heavy stone, heavy weight is tied to our legs, and then we are asked to walk. We cannot walk freely. So this attachment, they bind us to this world. So in this 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is explaining through an analogy. 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is explaining us through an analogy of a tree that what is this material world. And so I'll just show, before we start, I'll just show some small PPT about 15th chapter, and then we'll go by verse. Prabhu, you are able to see the PPT or PowerPoint? What exactly you are able to see there?
Gita Rahasyam.
Okay. No, you are able to see the full screen, no? Full screen
On
नहीं है?
screen we are able to see Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. So this is Gita Rahasyam. Some of you might have already attended Gita Rahasyam by Radhesham Bro, but it helps us to explain. Roji explains through in a very graphical and beautiful manner. That's why I thought to use this PPT here. Roji added a lot of animations and videos to explain this chapter. So if we want to, you can take a snapshot of this, maybe screenshot of this. There is one devotee, Sutapa Prabhu, or I don't know who is that devotee. I just forgot. who has made a very great, wonderful, for every chapter he has made 1111 acronym. And then if we just remember this acronym, we can remember the entire chapter. What is overline? Overline 14 chapter. The 14 chapter means then R for race. There is a competition among there. There is a race. There is a competition among the three modes. Then A, actions in the different modes, add action. And P, pure life. What is a pure life? The life by transcending the modes. When one starts transcending the modes, that is a pure life. So last section discussed about transcending the modes. So it is mentioned here pure life. So TRAP, trap. Now coming to the 15th chapter. 15th chapter can be summarized with one word. That is home. So today is before starting our today's class, we are giving you summary of today, like today in the terms of whatever this chapter we are going to discuss. So there are basically 20 shlokas in this chapter, and why 15th chapter is called as home? Because it gives us address, GPS location of our actual home. It gives description of a place from where we have come, from where we have to go. And so beautiful description of kingdom of God. It is mentioned in few verses in 15th chapter. So home. Whether this material world is our home or hotel, what is the difference between home or hotel? O for on and on, over and over again. How we are again and again circumambulating in this material world only. Then Supreme Lord is telling here, I am the maintainer of the body, mind, soul. I give remember. Sarvasa chaham mriti sannivishto matta smriti jnanam. So that all shlokas will come in the maintain. Let the Supreme Lord is maintainer of body, mind, and soul. And whatever Krishna told in 15 verses, last he gives essence in these three verses. So HOME, home. So the first five verses they are going to speak about is material world home or hotel. So it is home. Prabhu, someone can please read.
Spiritual world versus material world. Spiritual world. It's like a real mango tree on bank of a river. Material world is like the reflection of that mango tree in water. Our material body is a bad copy of our spiritual body.
So nice statement. Na? This is so beautiful. Our material body is a bad copy of a spiritual body. Like sometimes we go to a Xerox machine and we give our original documents. And the Xerox comes very dirty or black and white and very best document. Sometimes it comes. We say it's a bad copy. It's not original. Original is very good. So he said our material body is a bad copy of our spiritual body. It is a copy. So many features resemble there, but it is a bad copy. So this is just Prabhuji's, this and the purpose of this PPT is just to give some idea what is there in the slides. We'll go systematically through the verse by verse. So material world is a perverted reflection of spiritual world. Like this is a real marble. Some people have real marble in their voice. Some people have fake marble. Like in our the new center which we opened currently in Kothurud, there we have a similar kind of marble, but just goes away with a 1 inch deep only. There is nothing. So it appears like a marble, but it's imitation marble, fake marble, real currency note, and duplicate currency note. So real juice and imitation mango. So he said imitation mango cannot give us satisfaction. Like sometimes we go to the house of people and we find on the dining table there are a lot of fruits which are being kept. And they appear really very good. It appears so beautiful mango. But when you touch it, it appears like rubber and plastic only. So if we want to quench our thirst and happiness, quench a thirst and hunger, then it cannot be done by imitation mango. One has to approach real mango. So this is spiritual beauty of Lord, and this is material beauty. So material beauty, all of us know, it's a very thing, and there today, gone tomorrow. So this slide I actually like very much, and I purposefully use it sometimes because we preach in one college called as one college is there, and that is called as Peace University. That college name is Peace University. So they want to establish peace, 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 peace. So especially Brahman Marg, those who are Jnanis and Brahmavadis, their goal of life is to come to this zero axis. So currently in the material world, there is a description about negative axis. The material world is negative axis. Everyone is crying, crying, dukhalayam, dukhalayam, dukhalayam. When one comes to the platform of Brahma Bhuta, Prasannatma, na shochati, na kangshati, no happiness, no lamentation. It's just a peace on a platform. That is zero axis. But there is something above, that is spiritual world, and that is spiritual bliss. So Srila Prabhupada will mention in the purport that a material world is a perverted reflection of spiritual world. But sometimes people say, no, it is not perverted reflection. That is like a gnani tendency. So it will come in the first verse only. Prabhupada will explain very beautifully 360-degree rotation and 180-degree rotation. Technical terms Prabhupada will mention. So beauty in this world is only skin deep. So real beauty will be exposed soon. So coming to the first verse. Let's recite the first verse. How to go from material world to spiritual world, and that is by detachment and surrender. So let's come to 15.1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhvamulam Adha Shakam Ashwatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved. I'll open Vedabis for translation. Yes, bro.
Aditya Gaurang Prabhu. Aditya Gaurang Prabhu.
Am I audible? Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Translation. Supreme Personality of God itself, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward, its branches down, and its leaves to baby queens. And who knows this tree is the neon Vedas.
Yeah, so Manu is, so this is 15.1. Urdhva Mula Adha Shakam. So if you just go through the word for word translation, the first verse is telling us all of us have to endeavor to know one tree. If somebody understands this one tree, somebody researches this one tree, like we all try to understand so many different complicated subject matters, like those who are in the study of research and innovation, they try to study, they do PhD and research in different topics. So here Krishna is telling, if all of us want to become researcher and want to understand analytically, technically, so he said, understand this one tree. Try to picturize about this one tree. Try to know about this one tree. What is the description of this tree? So this tree is Urdhvamulam. It has roots growing upwards. The roots of this tree are growing upwards, upwards, upwards. They grow above. Adha Shakam. So we hear Urdhva means above. We say na Urdhvam gachanti satvasta madhye tishtanti rajasa. So Urdhvam. So Urdhva means the roots go upwards. Adho gachanti tamasa. So we say Adha, the, and the tree branches grow downwards. And which tree this is? Ashwatham. Ashwatham is a banyan tree or Vatavriksha. And he said the leaves of this tree are compared to Vedic hymns. So Vedic hymns are the root of this tree. Sorry, they are the leaves of this tree. And Paranani. Paranani means the leaves. And the one who understands this tree properly, he said he has understood all the Vedas. He has become Vedavid. The person who understands this tree, he has become Vedavid. So that is the description here. Yes, Proji, please read purport.
Purport. After the discussion of the importance of Bhakti Yoga, one may question, what about the Vedas? It is explained in this chapter that the purpose of Vedic study is to understand Krishna. Therefore, one who is in Krishna consciousness, who is engaged in devotional service, already knows the Vedas. The entanglement of this material world is compared here to a banyan tree. For one who is engaged in fruitive activities, there is no end to the banyan tree. He wanders from one branch to another, to another, to another. The tree of this material world has no end. And for one who is attached to this tree, there is no possibility of liberation. The Vedic hymns, meant for elevating oneself, are called the leaves of this tree. This tree's roots grow upward because they begin from where Brahma is located, the topmost planet of this universe. If one can understand this indestructible tree of illusion, then one can get out of it. This process of extrication should be understood. In the previous chapters, it has been explained that there are many processes by which to get out of the material entanglement and up to the and up to the 14th chapter, we have seen that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the best way. Now, the basic principle of devotional service is detachment from material activities and attachment to the transcendental service of the Lord. The process of breaking attachment to the material world is discussed in the beginning of this chapter. The root of this material existence grows upward. This means that it begins from the total material substance, from the topmost planet of the universe. From there, the whole universe is expanded, with so many branches representing the whole planetary systems. The fruits represent the results of the living entity's activities, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Now, there is no ready experience in this world of a tree situated with its branches down and its roots upward. But there is such a thing. That tree can be found beside a reservoir of water. We can see that the trees on the bank reflect upon the water with their branches down and roots up. In other words, the tree of this material world is only a reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. This reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire, just as a tree's reflection is situated on water. Desire is the cause of things being situated in this reflected material light. One who wants to get out of this material existence must know this tree thoroughly through analytical study. Then he can cut off his relationship with it. This tree, being the reflection of the real tree, is an exact replica. Everything is there in the spiritual world. The impersonalists take Brahman to be the root of this material tree, and from the root, according to Sankhya philosophy, come Prakriti, Purusha, and then the three gunas, and the five gross elements, Pancha Mahabhut, and the ten senses, the Shendriya, mind, etc. In this way, they divide up the whole material world into 24 elements. If Brahma is the center of all manifestations, then this material world is a manifestation of the center by 180 degrees, and the other 180 degrees constitute the spiritual world. The material world is the perverted reflection. So the spiritual world must have the same variegatedness, but in reality. Henceforth, herefore, both Prakriti and Purusha must be there. In the spiritual world, however, Prakriti is the Supreme Lord's internal energy, and the Purusha is the Supreme Lord himself. That is explained in Bhagavad Gita 8.22. Purusha sa parapartha. The difference between the spiritual and material manifestation is that the former is eternal and the latter is temporary. A reflection is temporary, for it is sometimes seen and sometimes not seen. But the origin from whence the reflection is reflected is eternal. The material reflection of the real tree has to be cut off. When it is said that the person knows the Vedas, it is assumed that he knows how to cut off attachment to this material world. If one knows that process, he actually knows the Vedas. One who is attracted by the ritualistic formulas of the Vedas is attracted by the beautiful green leaves of the tree. He does not exactly know the purpose of the Vedas. The purpose of the Vedas, as disclosed by the personality of Godhead himself, is to cut down this reflected tree and attain the real tree of the spiritual world.
Yes, thank you. So here Krishna is explaining about this imperishable banyan tree. So where do we find this tree? He said this tree as such doesn't exist only. This tree is not to be seen in the world because this tree is simply an illusion. And so one who is engaged in the fruitive activities, so it is like, so there's a, if we just draw a pictorial view of this tree, I'm not so good in drawing, like a, so the roots of this tree are compared to what? Anyone, if someone, you can just answer the questions. You read the purport just now, no? So all the devotees read the purport. So what are the leaves compared with?
Vedic hymns.
Hymns of the Vedas.
Yeah. So leaves are compared with Vedic hymns. And branches. And what are branches compared with? Okay, I think in the further shloka more it will come. It will become more clear. Currently it was like, and where are the roots located? Where are the roots situated? Where is the root situated?
Upwards.
It is upward. Yeah, correct. This is a real tree which I'm showing, but you consider that this is a false tree because I cannot do it ulta. So this is a false tree, material world ka. So where are the roots located? The roots
Upward.
are Brahman. So he said this stage of Brahma Bhuta or this Mahat Tattva, we describe na Mahat Tattva or Pradhan. So here the roots are located and the roots are located here. And now in this, from this stage, the tree grows downwards. The tree is growing downwards. And there are many different branches which are there. So on this different branches, different bodies are compared. Different living entities are coming up. Animal body, human body, this body, that body. These are all okay. I think there is a picture for this, which shows. I think in the PPT only there was picture, no?
Yes, sir.
Where this picture was? See this. So the actual tree grows. So this desire, if you see this desire is a water. And from this desire, the true trees can come. One tree is a top tree going to spiritual world, and another tree is the reflection tree, which is going downwards. So he said this desire, the reflection starts from the Brahma Loka. The roots are like in the Brahma Loka. Because Brahma Loka is the topmost planet. And from this tree grows downward, different branches are coming. So the different branches are compared to different species of the body, and then the different fruits are there. The different fruits are compared to dharma, artha, kama, moksha. 4 kinds of fruits are growing there. And leaves are compared to the Vedic hymns. And the topmost branch is like somebody has reached a topmost branch, then he has got liberation, is about close to the liberation when somebody jumps from there. So this all description is given here. So this tree is just a reflection tree. Urdhva Mula Adha Shakham. We know the very beautiful story. All of you might be knowing the story of once upon a time, a queen had lost a necklace in water near when she was taking bath in a pond. This necklace was lost, and then the king announced that whoever finds out this necklace, he will get a very huge amount of money, huge sum of money. So one person, he found out the necklace, and this necklace, but he was trying to get that necklace. He understood that in this particular pond, the necklace is there. So he's trying to jump inside that lake, but he's not able to find it out. Then one sadhu was passing nearby from there, and this sadhu happened to laugh. He said, "Why you are jumping here and there?" He said, "No, I cannot tell you, because if I tell you, then I will have to give the share of it." He said, "Don't worry, I don't need any share. I can help you." So he said, "I found a necklace inside this water. I want to bring it out. Can you help me out?" And the sage simply started laughing. Sage immediately went to a top of the tree, and from one branch, he just took a stick and removed the necklace. And the person was surprised. He said, "How did you know that necklace is here?" It is simply what you are trying to get in this world is just a reflection of that necklace. But actual necklace was put by crow on a branch of a tree. Similarly, this entire material world is simply a perverted reflection of spiritual world. So here in this 15th chapter now, in the first verse, some vital points Prabhupada is writing. Prabhupada is telling, one who wants to get out of this material entanglement should think a little bit, should contemplate a little bit, and through analytical study, he should study this tree. If he studies this tree very carefully, then he can cut this tree. And Prabhupada says this reflection tree is an exact replica, although bad replica, but exact replica of material spiritual world. So now how to work upon cutting this tree. So the more description is given in the second verse about leaves, what are the leaves, what are the branches. Description is given in the second verse. Second verse. Adhaschordham prashrutastasya shakha guna pravruddha vishaya pravala adhascha mulani anusantatani karmanubandhini manushya Translation.
Aditya Depalwar, bro. Aditya Depalwar, bro, are you there?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Translation of this tree extend downwards and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Roji, should I continue further? Yeah. Perfect. The description of the banyan tree is further explained here. Its branches spread in all directions. In the lower part are variegated manifestations of living entities, human beings, animals, horses, cows, dogs, cats, etc. These are situated on the lower parts of the branches, whereas on the upper parts are higher forms of the living entities, the demigods, Gandharvas, and many other higher species of life of um, uh, just a minute. Yeah. Um, life. As a tree is nourished by water, so this tree is nourished by the three modes of material nature. Sometimes you find that a tract of land is barren for want of sufficient water, and sometimes a tract is very green. Similarly, where particular modes of material nature are proportionately greater in quantity, the different species of life are manifested accordingly. The twigs of the tree are considered to be the sense objects. Development of the three modes of nature, we develop different senses, and by the senses, we enjoy different varieties of the sense objects. The tips of the branches are the senses, the ears, nose, eyes, etc. which are attached to the enjoyment of different sense objects. The twigs are sound, form, touch, and so on. The sense objects. The subsidiary roots are attachments and aversion. Products of different varieties of suffering and sense. The tendencies towards piety and impiety are considered to develop from these secondary roots, which spread in all directions. Is from Brahmaloka and the Brahmaloka and uh, Hare Krishna, yeah. And the other roots are in the human planetary system. Enjoys the results of virtuous activities in the upper planetary systems. He comes down to this earth and renews his karma of fruitive activities for promotion. This planet being is considered the field of activities.
So we find the word is used here, hotel. So there is a difference between home and hotel. Now home and hotel appear similar. Nowadays, even many hotels are being designed like a home only. There is a beautiful bathing tub, bathrooms are so posh, elegant. Then there are everything, food is there, television is there, bed sheets are there, bedrooms are there. And sometimes hotel appear to be actually appears to be more beautiful than our home. But home is home, hotel is hotel. In hotel, in hotel a person comes, spends some time, enjoys his karma, and as soon as his karma is exhausted, then again he has to go to earth, earn some money, again come and enjoy or suffer. So base and do fruitive activities. So this material world is like a hotel, not a home. And spiritual world is our true home. So this planet of human beings is considered the field of activities. So this entire planet is, we say, na karma bhumi, to create a karma. And heavenly planets and all, we exhaust karma. Generally, we exhaust our karma. But if we can still do offense in the heavenly planets, we can do offense in other. But generally, top planetary systems are exhaustion of the karma. And Earth planet is considered to be karma bhumi. One can do some good karma, bad karma. Based on that, he goes to different hotels and he enjoys there. So here, another comparison is made is the roots are situated in the Brahmaloka. The real root is in the Brahmaloka. And there are subsidiary roots which come out sometimes. Subsidiary roots means, Upashaka. Upashaka is the extra roots. Sometimes if you see in the banyan tree, like some extra roots may be hanging here, there. Yeah, roots and veils are hanging there from here, there. And some extra roots also grow here, there a little bit. So these extra roots are considered to be the tendencies for piety and impiety. And now, connecting to the leaves, like when there are leaves, there are some twigs. The twigs are considered to be the sense objects. Sense objects. So with every sense organ, there are some sense object associated. So sound for ear, then touch for skin. So these are all compared to sight for eyes. So these are all the twigs, the different twigs which are there. So here Bhagavata Krishna is this two verses, mainly it is being told that one, if he understands one this tree of illusion, one is rotating in this tree up and down, down and up and down. He is just moving all around this tree only. And he has no idea of the real tree, which is home, which is not a hotel. So he said, if somebody wants to get out of this tree, the getting out of this tree of material world is the purpose of human life. So to get out of this tree of material world, there is a need of weapon to cut this tree. And this weapon is called as the weapon of detachment. This weapon of detachment is very important to cut off this tree. So I'll cover something from slides of what Radheshyam shares. So here he says, don't get confused, because this all discussions is very confusing. So he mentions the real form of this tree cannot be perceived. You have to cut this tree, because this tree is entire illusion only. You have to cut this tree with acts of detachment. And in the 5th verse onwards, it's going to speak about Nirmana Moha Jita Sanghosha Dosha. So he's going to speak about what is the process of surrendering. So let's read 3, 4, 5 shlokas. Third and fourth shloka. न रूपमस्य तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चारी न च समप्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूय तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यत प्रवृत्ति प्रश्रुता पुराणी. Translation.
Akshay Prabhu.
Translation: the real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, and where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began, and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. Purport: it is now clearly stated that the real form of this banyan tree cannot be understood in this material world. Since the root is upwards, the extension of the real tree is at the other end. When entangled with the material expansion of the tree, one cannot see how far the tree extends, nor can one see the beginning of this tree. Yet one has to find out the cause. I am the son of my father. My father is the son of such and such a person, etc. By searching in this way, one comes to Brahma, who is generated by the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Finally, in this way, when one reaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the end of research work. One has to search out that origin of this tree, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Though the association of persons who are in knowledge of that Supreme Personality who are in the knowledge of that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then, by understanding, one becomes gradually detached from this false reflection of reality, and by knowledge, one can cut off the connection, actually become situated in the real tree. The word asanga is very important in this connection because the attachment for sense enjoyment and lording it over the material nature is very strong. Therefore, one must learn detachment by discussion of spiritual science based on authoritative scriptures, and one must hear from persons who are actually in knowledge. As a result of such discussion, in the association of devotees, one comes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then the first thing one must do is surrender to Him. The description of that place whence having gone, one never returns to this false reflected tree is given here. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the original root from whom everything has emanated. To gain the favor of that personality of Godhead, one has only to surrender, and this is a result of a performing devotional service by hearing and chanting, etc. He is the cause of the extension of the material world. This has already been explained by the Lord Himself. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. I am the origin of everything. Therefore, to get out of the entanglement of this strong banyan tree of material life, one must surrender to Krishna. As soon as one surrenders unto Krishna, one becomes detached automatically from this material extension.
So here the process of cutting this tree is being mentioned, that there is a need to cut this tree. This tree is a tree of illusion. And what is the method? So he said we have to learn the method of cutting this tree from scriptures and from the devotees who have successfully cut this tree. So discuss with devotees. And that's why we say, no, when we read the scriptures, what it does, vidyate hridaya granthis, छिद्यन्ते सर्व संशयः, क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि, दृष्टैवात्मनेश्वरे, vidyate hridaya granthis. So when we read scriptures, when we hear from these great devotees, so vidyate, it breaks apart, it cuts apart, छिद्यन्ते सर्व samshaya, all samshayas are when छिद्यते, क्षीयन्ते, cut, shasya karmani, it breaks the knots of karma. And drishtaivat manishware, when such things happen, then one can see his true self and spiritual world. So he said, the first step is to surrender unto him. Now here there is one very beautiful definition. Surrender means, in the last chapter we discussed, surrender means to surrender one's intelligence to the word of God. Surrender means to give one intelligence to the word of God. That we discussed in the last section. Here it is said surrender means, the practical definition of word surrender means it is engagement into Navada Bhakti. So when we participate into Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, that is all, that is surrender. Or we know another definition of surrender. Anukulasya sankalpa, pratikulasya vajanam, rakshasiti vishwaso, gopatirtve varanandatha, atmanikshepa karpanyam, shadvida sharanagati. So we said 6 symptoms of surrender we mentioned there. So it said one has to surrender. And as one surrenders, one gets detached automatically from the material extension. So one has to get this weapon, the weapon of knowledge, the weapon. So it is said the word sadhu itself means one who is very, very strong, one who is very heavy. And only sadhu can award this weapon to us. By sadhu's strong words, one can cut off the attachment to the material world. Like Ambarish Prabhu, he mentions his personal life example. When Ambarish Prabhu, first time he met Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada asked only one word to him. So, you are son of Henry Ford, you are the grandson of Henry Ford. Where is Ford now? And Prabhupada's that word, he said, these words entered like a sharp arrow inside his ears. And he said he understood all the meanings and purports and conclusions of all the different, whatever Prabhupada wanted to say. So he said, we have to approach a sadhu. And when we approach an sadhu and we hear from them, then this tree of illusion can be cut to the pieces. My personal example, I can say through my personal personal experience, that whenever some difficulties are troubling me, and I approach especially Radhesham Prabhu or some great devotees, and when they speak very strong words, especially a person whom we love, and a person we know that he loves us very much, and he speaks very strong words, cut. It breaks apart all our attachments. We are ready to give up all our attachments for their pleasure. Similarly, in the parents' case, like parents, if they only give lard and pyar to the children, then children listen, they grow nicely. But sometimes the same mother, she speaks very heavily. She speaks very heavily sometimes for the betterment of child. And then the child is able to give up all other nonsense activities just because for the pleasure of mother. We know the example of Bilva Mangal Thakur. Bilva Mangal Thakur was very attached to prostitute. And when this prostitute, his guru, basically Bilva Mangal Thakur's guru, spoke through that prostitute, that if you are so much attached to this perishable material body, what if you have same attachment to Krishna? How much you will advance? And these words entered like a very sharp sword in his ears and break off all his attachment, Bilva Mangal Thakur. So we know that to break this, we need a weapon of detachment. We need a sword of detachment. And what is this sword of detachment? The sword of detachment is knowledge. This is knowledge of detachment. So, because time and time again, our intelligence gets affected by doshas. That is called as dosha buddhi. So Arjuna's intelligence got affected by dosha buddhi. So he was considering that how can I kill my relatives, and also dosha buddhi affects. So there are doshas which affect our intelligence. So we have to have sword of intelligence, sword of knowledge, and cut off this tree. So fifth shloka is going to give a little more details about this. Very famous shloka and very beautiful memorization shloka. So if we can recite this very beautiful shloka. Fifth shloka. निर्माण मोहाजित संग दोष आध्यात्म नित्या विनिवृत्त काम द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुख दुःख समग्निर् गच्छन्ति अमूढा पदमव्ययं तत् निर्माण मोह जित संग दोष आध्यात्म नित्य निवृत्त काम. So, Nirman Moha Jita Sangha Dosha. Nirman. Nirman means those people who are free from prestige. They don't have any Mithya Ahankar. Jita Sangha Dosha. And he said, those who are away from this false association, bad association. Adhyatma Nitya Vinivritta Kama. So he said, those people who understand that they are eternal and who are done with the material lust now. Dvandver Vimukta Sukha Dukkha Samagner. So those people who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, gachanti amudha padam avyayam tat. So he said one has to surrender to such person, know how to surrender unto supreme person and attain that spiritual world. So take association of such people, those who are free from false prestige, who have conquered over false association, who are done with the material lust, who are free from the dualities of happiness and the dvandva vimukta sukha dukkha samagna. And he said, such a person, if you surrender, then one can start. So he said, so best surrender is to best way to surrender to the original person, that is Supreme Lord. So surrender to Supreme Lord, surrender to the great devotee of Supreme Lord. And when somebody does this, then when somebody has surrendered like this, then he starts going to spiritual world. So from sixth verse onwards, Krishna will describe spiritual world. If somebody follows this step in his life, one gets this weapon of detachment in his life, then he's making his step closer towards spiritual world, Krishna Loka or Golok Vrindavan. So purport is very nice. Yes, Prabhuji, please read the purport.
Ankush Prabhu.
The surrendering process described here very nicely. First qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride, because the conditioned soul is puffed up, thinking himself the lord of material nature. It is very difficult for him to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know by the cultivation of real knowledge that he is not lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. Pride is due to illusion. For although one comes here, stays for a brief time, and then goes away, he has the foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. He thus makes all things complicated and he is always in trouble. The whole world moves under this impression. People are considering the land, this earth, to belong to human society, and they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of this world. When one is freed from such a false notion that the human society, he becomes free from all the false associations caused by familial, social, and national affections. These faulty associations bind one to this material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is actually not his own. And when one has an understanding of things as they are, he becomes free from all dual conceptions such as happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. He becomes full in knowledge, then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So this shloka is mainly mentioning this process of surrendering. what is the process of surrendering to Supreme Lord? Some qualities are being mentioned of how to surrender to a person who is free, who is having free, who is like this, who is freed from all this quality. And also we should develop these qualities. So till now in the first 5 shlokas, what all points we discussed? We discussed how material world is an upside down banyan tree. And one who understands this tree is a true knower of Vedas. So after discussing Bhakti Yoga, one may question, what about Vedas? So chapter 15 is mainly telling about, because you told about Bhakti Yoga, but Vedas mention so many different items. Vedas tell about Rig, where do this, do that. You spoke simply do Bhakti Yoga, simply chant, simply remember, simply hear. But what about Vedas? So 15th chapter is talking about the purpose of Vedic study is to understand Krishna. So somebody who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he has already understood Vedas. And so in the first sloka, there was a focus about how material world is compared to a banyan tree. One should understand this tree of illusion and what it means to know the Vedas. The second shloka spoke about how material world is nourished by 3 modes. Like we find when we travel, at some land there is a lot of greenery, and some land there is all sukhapan. Why does it happen? Because in some land there is a lot of water, the soil is very good, and in some lands the water content is not very good. Then the land becomes barren. So as the land is nourished by a different amount of water, similarly the material world is nourished by 3 modes. Whichever modes are prominent, that kind of living entities they take birth. When the tamoguna is prominent, then the person takes birth as an animal. So based on and the third and fourth shloka, here it is Krishna is telling the real form of this tree cannot be seen in this material world. Use the acts of detachment, because this is all illusion. Use the acts of detachment. This tree is not a real tree, but it's a reflection tree. And it is impossible to understand the real tree. So we can first of all cut down this tree with determination, with the acts of detachment. And then one can get the desired destination. Surrender to Supreme. So surrendering process is mentioned in the third and fourth, and in fifth also. And so now ahead it will go. Tomorrow tomorrow is I think Nursing Chaturdashi. So tomorrow we are giving off. Day after tomorrow we have the session. So the fifth shloka, some qualities are being mentioned. Who will be able to surrender to the Supreme Person? So 6 points are given. Nirmana. One should be freed from false prestige and pride. Second is illusion, freedom from illusion. Then third is freedom from false association. Fourth is he understands that he is eternal. He's freed from the dualities. He's done with the material lust and unbewildered. So I said, then when one becomes in full knowledge like this, it is possible to surrender to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now it may appear, प्रभु ये सब करना बहुत डिफिकल्ट लग रहा है, ये सब करने के लिए तो भक्ति कर रहे हैं, और यहाँ पे फिर से वही क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, ये सब करने के बाद भक्ति होगा मिलेगा. सो कंफ्यूजन चालू होता है. कभी कृष्णा बोलते हैं कि भक्ति योगा करो सब कुछ फ्री हो जाएंगे, और कभी कभी बोलते हैं ये सब करो भक्ति योगा मिल जाएगा. तो हमेशा वो हमारा चिकन एक प्रॉब्लम चालू रहता है. सो ऐसा डू समथिंग फर्स्ट. Either engage in Navada Bhakti nicely and automatically these things will happen. If not, work upon this, slowly will come to the conclusion of Bhakti Yoga. So take any point and come to the conclusion of Bhakti Yoga. So these are the fifth shloka. So till now we discussed mainly about this home wala concept, HOME, home. So in the next section now, Krishna will speak about O. So H section is completed, on and on, over and over again. So he's going to describe spiritual world here. What is spiritual world and what is material world? So tomorrow we'll discuss little. Day after tomorrow we'll discuss little more about spiritual world. So we have a very beautiful PPT about spiritual world, very colorful PPT with videos and all. So we'll try to discuss little more about spiritual world, what exactly spiritual world is, Matad Bhashyate Suryo, Nashanka Pavaka, what all things. So and we'll try to discuss something from Bhagavatam also, the description of kingdom of God. So let's try to see. So these are the over and over, on and on, over and over again. This we'll discuss in the net to day for tomorrow. Jai. So we stop here today, bro. We'll meet day after tomorrow. That is on tomorrow is Wednesday. Day after tomorrow is Thursday. Jai. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय. श्री प्रभुपाद.
Jai. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.